Chapter 1. The 911 Call That Shattered Everything. If there was one thing Tristan Valentine had learned after 12 years as a paramedic, it was that nights never went according to plan. Some nights were routine, chest pains, slip and falls, too much whiskey at the wrong time. Others blindsided him completely. He just never imagined this call would be the one to destroy his entire life. The radio crackled as he and his partner, Devin Marks, sat in the rig outside a closed convenience store, finishing lukewarm coffee. Medic 12, respond priority to the Whitmore Hotel, room 714. Male mid-40s, unresponsive but breathing. Caller reports sudden collapse. Police en route. Devin groaned. Whitmore. Great. That place is 90% rich people with anxiety attacks and 10% rich people who actually need us. Tristan smirked, tossing his empty cup aside. Still beats the bar scene on a Saturday. Let's go. They pulled onto Michigan Avenue, sirens slicing through the wind. The Whitmore's towering glass facade sparkled in the city lights as they rolled up under the valet archway. A bellhop waved them toward the elevators with frantic urgency. Room 714, he said breathlessly. The woman who called seemed upset. They stepped inside the elevator, gear bags slung over their shoulders. Devin nudged Tristan. You look tired, man. Colette keeping you up again? Tristan chuckled lightly, not wanting to open that door. Something like that. The elevator chimed, and the marble hallway stretched out before them, quiet and empty. Tristan felt that familiar adrenaline sharpen his senses. Work always came first. Personal life could wait. They reached 714. Devin knocked loudly. Paramedics. A pause, then a soft, shaky female voice. Come in. The door opened, and Tristan's heart stopped. There, standing in the dim, warm light of the hotel suite, wearing nothing but a silk robe loosely tied around her waist, was Colette, his wife. For a moment, Tristan forgot how to breathe. She froze too, eyes widening, lips parting in horror. Tris? Devin glanced between them. You two know each other? Tristan didn't answer. He couldn't. The room was large, expensive, spotless. A glass of champagne sat half full on the coffee table. Clothes, not hers, were scattered near the bed. And on the king-size duvet lay the patient. A man in his 40s, shirt unbuttoned, breathing heavily, face pale. Sebastian Bass, a name Tristan recognized immediately from the city's business news. Colette swallowed hard, pulling the robe tighter. He collapsed. I didn't know who else to call. Devin lifted an eyebrow at Tristan, who forced his voice steady. Okay, we'll handle it. He walked to the patient, kneeling beside the bed. His hands trembled for half a second before professional instinct kicked in. Sir, can you hear me? Tristan tapped Bass's cheek. The man groaned weakly. He said he wasn't feeling well, Colette whispered. We were talking, and then he just fell over. Devin shot her a thin look. Talking? Sure. Tristan forced himself not to react. Not here. Not now. He grabbed his stethoscope. Pulses slow but steady. Respiratory rates shallow. Devin started pulling out equipment. Let's get vitals. Starting a 12 lead. As Tristan positioned the oxygen mask, he caught a whiff of expensive cologne, not his. He felt something inside him crack. Colette stayed near the wall, hands shaking. Tristan, I can expel. Save it, he cut her off quietly. We'll talk later. Devin glanced at him again, reading the tension immediately. But he said nothing. BP is 92/60, Devin announced. We're going to need a transport. Tristan nodded and switched angles to start assessing Bass more thoroughly. His mind kept screaming. Why is she here? With him? What the hell is going on? But his voice remained calm. Mr. Bass, we're going to lift you onto the gurney. Stay with me, okay? The man mumbled something incoherent. Colette stepped closer. Please, he looked fine 30 minutes ago. Then he said he felt dizzy and, Colette, Tristan said sharply, unable to hide the edge this time, step back. She flinched. I didn't call you. I called 911. I didn't know you'd be the one. I said step back. Devin cleared his throat. Let's keep it focused, guys. They lifted the businessman carefully. As they adjusted the straps, Devin suddenly frowned. His eyes flickered toward Colette. Then again, as if noticing something. Tristan didn't catch it, too focused on keeping his shaking hand steady. Base's eyelids fluttered. "Don't call anyone," he slurred. "Don't tell." Devin glanced at Tristan. "That's odd. We'll sort it out in the rig," Tristan replied. When they pushed the gurney toward the door, Colette grabbed Tristan's arm. "Please don't leave like this," she whispered. "I can explain." He turned slowly, meeting her trembling eyes. There were 1,000 words he wanted to scream, but they had a patient. "We'll talk when I'm off shift," he said, voice like stone. Her eyes glassed with tears, but he didn't look away. Not this time. In the hallway, Devin pressed the elevator button, then leaned in close to Tristan. "Hey," he murmured. "Are you good to keep running this call?" Tristan inhaled, held, exhaled. "Yeah, I'm fine." He wasn't, but work didn't care. As the elevator doors opened, Devin hesitated. He glanced back toward the suite. His expression shifted, subtle, but definitely alarmed, like he'd seen something that didn't make sense. Tristan frowned. "What?" Devin pressed his lips into a tight line. "Tell you in the rig." Tristan didn't push it. They rolled the patient inside and let the doors close. But as the elevator descended, Tristan noticed something small, something he'd missed earlier. Devin staring at something on the tablet, then back at Colette's direction, then back at the tablet. Whatever he saw, it wasn't good. And Tristan felt, for the first time, the stirrings of something darker than heartbreak. Something like danger. Chapter 2, The Tattoo That Changes the Entire Night. The elevator doors slid open with a metallic sigh, releasing them into the ambulance bay level of the Whitmore. The carpet swallowed the hum of the rolling gurney as Tristan and Devin navigated toward the parking garage exit where their rig waited. Base's breathing had become more erratic, a wet, throaty struggle Tristan didn't like. He pushed the gurney faster. "Stay with me, Mr. Base," Tristan said, leaning in. "We're almost outside." Base didn't respond. His head lolled to the side, eyelids fluttering. Devin fished in the drug kit. "We might have to support his airway if he dips any lower." Tristan nodded, but his mind still looped back to Colette in that damn silk robe, the room, the champagne, the guilt in her voice. He forced it back. Focus. Patient first. At the rig, they loaded Base inside. Tristan climbed in and attached oxygen tubing. Devin prepped the cardiac monitor. Then, while Base lay twitching, Devin paused. His gaze sharpened, not at the patient, but toward the hallway near the elevator they'd just come from. Tristan followed his line of sight. Colette stood there, barefoot, still in her robe, pale, hands visibly shaking. "Tristan," she said softly, please talk to me." Devin muttered under his breath, "Oh, hell." Tristan stiffened. "Colette, go back inside. We have a patient." But she didn't leave. Instead, she stepped closer, too close, as if desperate for Tristan to see something she couldn't say out loud. That's when Devin noticed it. He sucked in a breath. "Tristan," he whispered, "look at her wrist." Colette's robe sleeve had slipped back slightly as she reached toward the rig. And there it was, inked on the inside of her wrist, a black, crown-shaped sigil wrapped in a thin ring of barb vines. Devin grabbed Tristan's arm, fingers tightening with urgency. "Dude, that symbol, that's the Crown Syndicate mark." Tristan blinked. "What?" Devin's voice dropped to a harsh whisper. "I've seen that symbol twice on gang case briefs. These people drug wealthy men, extort them, blackmail them, ruin their careers. They're dangerous, really dangerous." Tristan felt something inside him tilt. "Devin, that's my wife. That tattoo wasn't there before?" Devin asked carefully. "No, never." Colette realized they were staring at her wrist. She quickly yanked down her sleeve. "That's nothing," she stammered. "It's just a symbol. It's not what you think." But her voice cracked in a way that sounded like fear, not guilt. Base suddenly groaned loudly on the gurney, diverting attention. His arm jerked. His pulse thudded weakly under the pulse ox clip. Devin leaned toward Tristan, voice urgent but low. "Listen to me very carefully. If she's involved with the Crown Syndicate, this entire scene is compromised. We need PD. Now." Tristan stared at him, stunned. "Devin, you're asking me to—" "Yes," Devin said sharply. "Call the police. Do not treat her. Do not let her follow us to the hospital. and do not let her near this patient again. The finality in his tone was chilling. Tristan swallowed hard. His wife, the woman he thought he knew, might be part of one of Chicago's most notorious blackmail rings. His stomach turned. Tristan, Devin pressed, I'm serious. Don't freeze on me. That tattoo isn't random. It's their exact emblem. You call this in, or I do. Colette stepped closer, tears swelling. Tristan, please. It's not, it's just a tattoo. I swear to God. I didn't think you'd ever. Back away from the rig. Devin barked. The sharpness of his tone made her jump. Tristan felt the world narrow into a tight, suffocating space. His mind raced, Colette lying to him, being in that room, with that man, that tattoo. Colette, he said quietly, what is that symbol? She froze, eyes wide, silent. Colette, answer me. She opened her mouth, but no sound came out. Devin snapped open the radio. Dispatch, Medic 12 requesting immediate police presence at the Whitmore Hotel, Ambulance Bay. Possible criminal activity at the scene. Colette's face lost all color. Devin, she gasped. No, please. Tristan stepped out of the rig, blocking her from approaching. Colette, what is going on? Her eyes darted wildly between them. Tris, listen to me. Please. Not here. Please don't call the police. I can explain. I swear I can. Emergency sirens echoed down the ramp. Too late, Devin said softly. 2 police cruisers screeched to a stop near the ambulance bay. 4 officers jumped out, hands already near their belts. The lead officer, a woman with a stiff posture and quick eyes, approached. Paramedics? What's happening? Devin pointed to Colette. Tattoo of the Crown Syndicate. Suspicious circumstances. Possible drugging of a high-profile businessman. Colette let out a strangled sound. No, that's not. You don't understand. The officers closed in. Tristan felt like he was watching someone else's nightmare happen in slow motion. Ma'am, the lead officer said, please turn around and place your hands where I can see them. Colette's lip quivered. Tristan, she whispered, voice breaking. Please don't let them. Please, Tris, please. Tristan said nothing. He couldn't. His throat was tight, his heart pounding. The officers gently grabbed her arms, pressing her palms to the wall. Colette choked out a sob. It's not what you think. I can't tell you here. Tristan, please. More officers surrounded the rig as another team approached the still unconscious Sebastian Bass. His shirt was fully unbuttoned now, and faint marks, almost needle-like, were visible on his neck and collarbone. One officer whistled low. Yeah, this looks like their signature. Tristan felt his breath leave him. The Crown Syndicate had a pattern, and this scene matched it. Bass, the champagne, the collapse, Colette in a robe, the tattoo. The sickening realization twisted inside him like a knife. She wasn't just cheating. She was involved in something far, far worse. Bass was carefully transferred to a police stretcher, escorted by detectives who had arrived minutes later. The man groaned faintly, completely unaware of the chaos around him. 2 officers cuffed Colette, guiding her toward a patrol car. She turned desperately toward Tristan. Tris, please. You have to trust me. I didn't want you to find out like this, please. He couldn't look at her. He just watched as the door closed, muffling her cries, sealing away the woman he thought he knew. Devin placed a hand on Tristan's shoulder. Hey, I'm sorry, man. I really am. Tristan didn't respond. He stood frozen, staring at the patrol car as it pulled away, taking his wife, his marriage, and every truth he thought he understood with it. The night had changed, and everything he knew was about to unravel. Chapter 3. Interrogation and the First Horrifying Truths. The fluorescent lights of the police station buzzed faintly, a sound Tristan never noticed in his life until tonight. Now it grated against his skull like a drill. The entire building smelled of old paper, burnt coffee, and cold metal. Officers moved around him in a blur, their voices indistinct through the pounding of his pulse. A young desk sergeant gestured toward an empty hallway. Mr. Valentine, the detectives will speak with you now. Follow me. Tristan nodded stiffly, hands still trembling from the ambulance bay chaos. Colette's screams outside the patrol car door echoed in his head. He tried to push the memory away, but it clung to him like smoke. The sergeant opened a door to interview room 4, small, windowless, claustrophobic. A metal table stood at the center, flanked by 2 chairs. A camera blinked red in the corner. Wait here. The door clicked shut. Tristan rubbed his hands over his face. He felt sick, devastated, angry, lost, all at once. A few minutes later, the door opened again. 2 detectives walked in. Mr. Valentine, the woman said, extending a hand. Detective Angela Mesa. This is my partner, Detective Raul Morales. Morales nodded. We know this is a hell of a night for you. We appreciate you talking to us. Tristan shook their hands mechanically. I just want to know what's going on. Nobody's told me anything except that she's involved with something called the Crown Syndicate. Mesa exchanged a look with her partner. She pulled out a thick file and set it on the table with a dull thud. Take a seat, Tristan. This is not going to be easy. He sat. Morales closed the blinds over the tiny window on the door. Before we start, do you want water? No, Tristan said, voice tight. I want the truth. Mesa exhaled. Then here it is. She opened the file. The first photo made Tristan's lungs freeze. It was Colette, his Colette, smiling seductively at a rooftop bar, sitting close to a man Tristan didn't recognize. Her hand rested on his thigh. The man's wedding ring was clearly visible. Mesa slid another photo forward. Colette again. Different man. Different luxury hotel. Same smile. Tristan swallowed hard. What is this? Morales leaned forward. Mr. Valentine, your wife has been an active member of the Crown Syndicate for approximately 3 years. They target high-net-worth men, CEOs, surgeons, politicians, investors. They lure them into compromising situations. Drugs, photographs, recordings, then extortion. Tristan stared at the photos, numb. That can't be right. Colette works as a marketing consultant. She's barely home because of her clients and events, but she would never. Mesa tapped the photo. Those were her client events. The words hit him like a punch. Morales pulled out a tablet, tapping it open. We're going to show you some of what we have. We need you to understand the severity. The screen lit with a video thumbnail. Tristan's stomach flipped. Just tell me. His voice cracked. I don't want to see. You need to, Mesa said gently. She pressed play. The footage blurred to life. Grainy security cam images of a hotel hallway. Colette entering a penthouse suite with a tall, nervous man. They looked intimate. Familiar. Tristan's heart sank. Mesa paused the video. This is one of more than 20 recorded entries. Tristan's chest felt tight, like he'd swallowed a stone. So she cheated? Morales shook his head slowly. Cheating is the least of the charges she's facing. Mesa turned another page in the file. This one contained banking records, pages and pages of them. Over $2 million, she said quietly. Deposited in small amounts through crypto wallets, fake accounts, and shell companies. Almost all tied to extortion payments. Tristan stared at the numbers, trying to make them make sense. 2 million. 3 years. The late nights. The expensive dresses she insisted were discounted samples. The business trips that always seemed one day longer than planned. He felt like vomiting. Morales continued gently. We know this is devastating. But there's more. Mesa slid forward a stack of statements, typed formal reports. These are victim testimonies. Tristan's eyes darted down the page. I lost my job. My wife filed for divorce when the blackmail photos were sent. They told me if I went to the police, they'd destroy my reputation. I paid because I was afraid for my family. He felt physically ill. Mesa's tone softened. Tristan, we're telling you this because you're not under investigation. You're a victim too. Tristan laughed, a hollow, broken sound. Victim? I lived with her. Slept next to her. Shared a life. How could I not see any of this? Morales rested his forearms on the table. These people are trained manipulators. They pick partners who won't suspect a thing, who offer them stability, normalcy, and a cover. Tristan froze. A cover. Mesa nodded sympathetically. Yes, having a stable marriage, a respectable husband, it made her appear trustworthy to victims. It made her bait more effective. He felt the breath leave his lungs. So my marriage was a prop? A strategic prop, Morales said softly. One she used very effectively. Tristan shook his head. No, there were real moments. There were good nights, laughter, plans. She loved me. Mesa's gaze was apologetic. We have recordings, Tristan. Hours of internal syndicate chats. She spoke often about needing her marriage front to stay intact because it made her look credible. He stared at her. Marriage front. Mesa nodded. Morales slid over printed text messages. Colette's name at the top. Tristan's heart pounded as he read the words typed by his wife. He's harmless. He thinks I travel for clients. He suspects nothing. As long as I keep up appearances, we're safe. Tristan felt something inside him shatter. Not break. Shatter. Mesa spoke gently. We're telling you because you deserve the truth. You didn't do anything wrong. She hid a double life so carefully that even our surveillance took months to unmask it. Tristan pressed his hands to his forehead. Why didn't she just leave? Why stay married if she... Because you protected her, Morales said simply. Not knowingly, but you gave her a foundation. A respectable household. A reason for victims to trust her story. Tristan sat back, dizzy. His life wasn't just breaking apart. It had already been broken. He just never saw it. He whispered, Where is she now? Mesa folded her hands. In holding, awaiting federal transfer. She hasn't asked for a lawyer yet. Tristan closed his eyes, trying to steady his breathing. Everything he knew, every memory, every promise, every soft moment felt poisoned. Morales lowered his voice. There's more we need to discuss. And a question we need to ask you. Tristan lifted his head. What question? Mesa leaned forward, her expression grave. We want your help. With her. With the Crown Syndicate. Tristan stared at them, stunned. His nightmare was only beginning. Chapter 4, Tristan's Reluctant Decision. Tristan Valentine sat alone in the gray interview room, elbows on the metal table, palms pressed over his eyes as if trying to push back the pounding behind them. The fluorescent light above him hummed in a steady, grating rhythm that felt too calm for what he had just learned. His wife, the woman he had loved, trusted, built a life around, was a criminal asset to one of the most dangerous syndicates in Chicago. 3 years. 3 years of lies. Of kisses goodnight. Of promises. All of it poisoned. The door creaked open. Detective Morales stepped inside first, her expression tight, controlled. Behind her followed Detective Mesa and 2 federal agents in dark suits, the kind that radiated authority without speaking. Valentine, Morales said gently, pulling out the chair across from him. We know this is heavy, but we need to go over the proposal carefully. Tristan lifted his head slowly. His eyes were red but steady. Proposal? One of the federal agents, a tall, stone-faced man with silvering hair, placed a thick file on the table. I'm Agent Keaton. This is Agent Ruiz, he said, gesturing to his partner. We're leading the federal investigation into the Crown Syndicate. Your wife is a critical asset, more valuable than she even realizes. Tristan let out a breath laugh, humorless, sharp. Asset, he repeated. Is that what you call someone who's destroyed half a dozen families? Agent Ruiz clasped her hands. We're asking you to help us take them down. That means keeping your current marriage intact. Temporarily. Tristan stared at them, stunned. You want me to pretend everything is normal? To go home with her? Sleep under the same roof? Morales spoke quietly. Colette doesn't know the depth of our investigation yet. She thinks Base was the target tonight, not her. She's scared, but she doesn't know she's exposed. If she suspects the truth, she'll run. And the syndicate will close ranks before we can grab the upper tiers. Agent Keaton opened the file. Inside were photos of men in suits, women with blurred faces, encrypted messages, bank transfers, surveillance shots. For 3 years, he said, your wife has been groomed into one of their most trusted operatives. She's a courier, negotiator, and occasionally a lure. Tristan flinched. Morales paused, watching him with sympathy. We're not asking you to forgive her. We're asking you to help us finish what her arrest started. Mesa rested his knuckles on the table. If you stay, keep routine, act natural, she'll lead us to the others. But if she panics, we lose everything. Silence filled the room. Tristan inhaled slowly, his chest tight. So you wanted to play perfect husband for federal surveillance. Yes, Keaton said plainly. He leaned back, staring at the ceiling as the buzzing light grew louder. Do you know what she looked like tonight? He whispered. Not scared, not ashamed. She just tried to hide me, like I was some random paramedic who walked in at the wrong time. Morales met his eyes. Tristan, saying no is an option. We don't force civilians into operations like this. Mesa cut in, voice lower. But if you walk away, she'll know something's wrong. She'll know we have more than she realized. And she'll run, Ruiz added. She knows how. She's been trained for it. Tristan looked down at his hands, the same hands that had saved stroke victims, cardiac arrests, overdose cases. Hands that steadied lives, and now they shook with betrayal. He swallowed hard. What exactly would you need from me? Keaton slid a small black device across the table. You'll wear this. Audio tracker, disguised as a paramedic radio clip. Minimal interference. Just keep it on you when you're home. Tristan picked it up. It was lighter than he expected. You'll maintain normal routines, Ruiz continued. Conversations, meals, anything she expects. If she talks about the syndicate, if she makes calls, if she goes anywhere, we'll know. And if she becomes dangerous, he asked quietly. Mesa answered without hesitation. You call us. Immediately. Tristan's jaw tightened. She lied to me for years. She used me as cover. She risked my career, my safety, everything. And now you want me to walk back into that house like nothing happened. It's temporary, Morales said. Once we dismantle the ring, once she's indicted, you'll be free. Tristan fell silent. Keaton studied him calmly. We need a decision soon. Colette will be released on monitored conditions in the next few hours. If you're not there to pick her up, she'll know something's off. The room seemed to shrink around him. He tried to picture going home. He tried to picture her smile, now false, manufactured. He tried to imagine pretending. But then he remembered the victims' photos. People broken by the syndicate, people who had lost jobs, marriages, millions because of manipulation and threats. He exhaled shakily. If I say yes, then we move forward tonight, Ruiz said. And if I say no, then we release her, Keaton answered. She goes home alone, and likely disappears within 48 hours. The word disappeared hit him harder than expected. He wasn't doing this for her. He was doing it for the truth. For justice. For himself. Tristan straightened in his chair. His voice was steady, but his hands still trembled. I'll do it. Morales let out a breath she'd been holding. Mesa nodded once. The agents exchanged a quick look of relief. Tristan raised a hand. But I have one condition. Keaton lifted an eyebrow. Go on. When this ends, Tristan said quietly, I get to look her in the eyes and tell her it's over. No lawyers. No redirect. I want her to hear it from me. Ruiz nodded. That's fair. Morales leaned forward. We'll make sure you have that moment. Tristan stood, feeling like his legs belonged to someone else. So what now? Keaton gathered the files. Now we brief you. We set boundaries. And then you go pick up your wife and start the most difficult acting job of your life. Tristan swallowed, squared his shoulders, and followed them out of the room. His heart was breaking, but his resolve was solidifying. He would walk back into the lie, not because she deserved it, but because justice did. And when it was over, so were they. Chapter 5, Living with a Stranger. When Tristan unlocked the front door of the brownstone he once considered his safe place, he paused on the threshold. The house looked the same, warm lights, framed photos on the wall, the faint smell of lavender detergent, but it no longer felt like home. It felt like a crime scene. Colette stepped out of the kitchen when she heard the door. She was wearing a soft sweater and leggings, her hair tied back in a loose braid. Familiar, comfortable, the image of a loving wife. But her eyes flickered with calculation the moment she saw him. Tristan, she breathed, forcing a relieved smile. Thank God you're home. He swallowed the bitterness that rose in his throat. I told you I'd pick you up. She rushed forward and wrapped her arms around him. It was a hug meant to feel intimate, grounding, but he couldn't unsee the photos the detectives had shown him. The encrypted messages, the victims, the lies. He put his hands lightly on her back. Enough to look convincing, not enough to feel anything. I'm glad you're okay, he said with practiced softness. She stepped back, searching his face. "You're being gentle. I thought you'd be furious." He forced a small laugh that hurt his chest. "I'm a paramedic, Colette. People faint in hotels all the time." The rest was just awkward timing. She relaxed visibly, too visibly. A lie was an easy bed for her. "Let's just forget it happened," she said quietly. "Please." Tristan nodded. Sure, but he wouldn't forget. Not for a second. The house of masks. Night settled around them. Colette made pasta and poured wine while humming under her breath. She kept glancing at him, checking his mood, his reactions, his tells. She was assessing him like a mark. "So," she said lightly during dinner, "Devin seemed suspicious earlier. Did he say anything to you?" Tristan twirled pasta with deliberate slowness. "He was worried about you fainting. That's all." A lie to answer a lie. Her shoulders loosened. "Good. I'd hate for him to think something weird was going on." Tristan kept his expression neutral. "Why would he?" She froze for half a second, a glitch in a mask, then smiled again. "Exactly." After dinner, she kissed him on the cheek before heading upstairs to take a bath. The kiss felt mechanical, a pre-programmed marital gesture. He waited 10 minutes. Then he got to work. Her laptop. Tristan slipped into the home office and opened her sleek silver laptop. He placed the small federal tracking device, disguised as a flash drive, into the port. The screen came to life instantly. "Password," he muttered. He tried the obvious ones first. Her birthday, their anniversary, the dog they never got. Nothing. Then he typed the one word the agents had suggested. Crown 14, the laptop unlocked. His breath caught. The desktop was organized, color-coded, spotless. The workspace of someone who lived a double life with terrifying discipline. He clicked a folder labeled receipts. Hundreds of PDFs, open one after another. Bank transfers, offshore accounts, cryptocurrency wallets, shell corporations. At the top of the list was the total. $2,186,300.42. Tristan stared at the number until his vision blurred. $2 million. From ruined lives. From broken marriages. From people she'd charmed, seduced, manipulated. From a life she built on deception, including her marriage to him. He felt sick. A new email notification appeared in the corner of the screen. Encrypted message from Blackbird. Tristan leaned closer. The message decrypted. Meeting confirmed. Usual place. Midnight. Bring the ledger. His stomach dropped. "Ledger," he whispered. Footsteps upstairs made him snap the laptop shut. He pulled out the flash drive just as Colette descended the stairs wrapped in a towel, hair damp, smiling softly. "Why are you in my office?" she asked, tone light but eyes sharp. Tristan forced a yawn. "Looking for the property tax paperwork. Thought I left it in here." She studied him, too long, too carefully, then nodded. "Let me know if you need help finding it." "I will." They passed each other in the hallway. He felt her gaze burning into his back. She didn't trust him. Not fully, but she didn't distrust him yet either. Soon, the burner phones. Colette was meticulous, but not perfect. At 11:07 p.m., Tristan heard the faint creak of the hall closet. He moved quietly to the top of the stairs and peered down. Colette crouched in the dark with a small fireproof lockbox. From inside, she pulled out 3 burner phones, black, unmarked, taped with numbers. She powered one on and whispered into it. "Yes, I'll leave in 20 minutes. No, he's asleep. Yes, I have the ledger." A chill ran through Tristan's spine. She wasn't just a participant. She was central. She ended the call, tucked the phones into her purse, and slipped out the front door without noticing him in the shadows. The moment it clicked shut, Tristan tapped the communicator on his belt. "She's leaving. Midnight meeting confirmed. She has something called a ledger." "Copy that." Agent Ruiz answered through the tiny speaker. "We're tracking her. Stay put. Stay put." With the house full of her secrets. With the ghosts of every lie she'd told. He moved through their bedroom, the kitchen, the living room, seeing everything with new eyes, as a stage she crafted to sell a perfect life. The wedding photo on the mantel made him pause. Her fake smile. His real one. He touched the frame, then put it face down. A crumbling marriage. Colette returned at 1:42 a.m. Her footsteps were careful, controlled. She eased in a bed beside him and exhaled softly. Long bath. He murmured sleepily, pretending to wake. She said. I needed to clear my head. He pretended to accept that. She rolled onto her side. I love you, Tristan. It was reflexive, automatic. But tonight, he finally heard the hollow space beneath the words. I love you too, he said, because the investigation required it. She smiled in the dark. He stared at the ceiling, eyes wide open. The woman sleeping inches away from him wasn't his wife. Not the one he thought he married. This was someone else entirely, a woman crafted by a criminal empire, molded into a weapon, paid millions to ruin lives. And she had used their marriage as camouflage, as a shield, as a lie. Tristan closed his eyes, the weight of it all crushing down on him. He was living with a stranger. And tomorrow, he would wake up beside her again. Chapter 6, The New Target. Tristan knew something was brewing the moment he woke up. Colette was already downstairs. Not unusual, but the atmosphere was wrong, too still, too deliberate. He heard faint typing, the rustle of papers, her low voice humming with concentration. He sat on the edge of the bed, wiping a hand down his face. The clock read 6:14 a.m. Whatever she was planning, it wasn't small. He descended the stairs slowly, pretending casual morning sluggishness. Colette sat at the breakfast table with her laptop open, 3 burner phones lined neatly beside it, a mug of chamomile, tea steaming within reach. She looked up at him with a practiced smile. Good morning, she said brightly. He kissed her cheek, forcing a calm he didn't feel. You're up early. Busy day, she replied, shutting one laptop window too quickly. His chest tightened. Work. A tiny smirk flickered across her face. Not playful, confident, sharp, something like that. She slid a glossy folder across the table toward him. Tell me what you think. Just business feedback. Business feedback. He knew better than to question that wording too hard. Tristan opened the folder. A man's photo stared back at him. Strong jawline. Clean suit. 40-ish. The name printed below it. Matthew Olson, founder and CEO of Olson Tech Net Worth. $412 million. Tristan's breath caught, but he kept his expression neutral. He's impressive. Colette leaned back in her chair, eyeing him as if she wanted to watch his reaction molecule by molecule. He's my new client. His throat tightened. Client. A potential investor, she clarified with a slight tilt of her head. But these types always want more than business. They love attention. They love flattery. She paused, letting her voice soften. They love feeling special. He stared at the folder, heartbeat thudding like a drum against his ribs. You met him already? Not yet. Tonight. She crossed her legs, her tone growing almost playful. But I already know how it'll go. They're all the same, Tristan. Men with money are predictable. Needy. Easy. She lifted her mug, taking a slow sip, eyes locking with his over the rim. And Olson is about to be the biggest payday of my career. He forced a tight smile. I'm sure. She stood suddenly and walked toward him, draping her arms over his shoulders. Don't look so serious. It's just business networking. I need to make connections. You know that. You're good at it, he said quietly. She kissed his cheek. Very good. She picked up her phone and disappeared into her office, heels clicking on hardwood. The moment the door closed, Tristan exhaled, grabbed the folder, and slipped out the back door. The call to the detectives. Tristan's hands were trembling as he stepped into his car, shutting the door quietly. He pulled the police-issued, encrypted phone from his glove compartment, dialed Detective Mesa, and waited. She answered on the second ring. Valentine, talk to me. It's happening, he said, flipping open the folder. She's going after someone named Matthew Olson. Tech billionaire. She's meeting him tonight. A beat of silence, then a sharp inhale. Oh, hell, Mesa muttered. He told us she'd make a move, but we didn't know when. Who? Tristan asked. Do you know him? Mesa's voice changed, lower, tighter. Tristan, Matthew Olson is not a billionaire. Tristan blinked. What? He's an FBI agent. Deep undercover. He's been embedded in the Crown Syndicate's Tech Target division for a year. Tristan's pulse skyrocketed. Wait, he's a plant. He's the keystone of a federal sting, Mesa said. The Bureau has been planning a takedown of the entire syndicate. A full sweep. Your wife's next move is what triggers it. Tristan pressed a hand to his forehead. So they want her to go through with it. Exactly, Mesa replied. We need everything, her approach, her meetings, her communications with her handlers. Olsen is prepared. The Sting team is in place. Tristan stared through the windshield, mind racing. This isn't just about her, is it? It's about all of them, Mesa said. Your wife is a high-value operative. She has contacts we haven't even identified yet. Tristan shut the folder, hands shaking. So what do you need from me? Mesa spoke slowly, deliberately. We need you to keep her calm. Keep her thinking you by her lies. Keep her talking. We need her confident, not suspicious. A cold wave washed through him. You want me to help her trap a man who's actually an FBI agent, he said with bitter disbelief. Mesa's voice softened. We want you to help us trap the people who destroyed your marriage. He closed his eyes. He thought of the victims' faces, the recordings, the ledger, the betrayal. Okay, he whispered. Tell me what to do. Evening preparations. When Tristan returned inside, Chloe was already upstairs, arranging outfits on the bed. He lingered in the doorway. She held up a long black dress, body-hugging but elegant. This one, she declared. Men like Olsen respond to sophistication. Tristan swallowed hard. Looks great. She smirked. You're terrible at fake enthusiasm. I'm trying, he said. Colette walked over and fixed his collar. Relax. I told you this is business. She moved past him, selecting heels, perfume, jewelry with the smooth efficiency of someone preparing for a performance. You'll be out late? He asked. She nodded. Dinner first. Drinks after. If he bites, the real conversation starts. The real conversation? She gave him a knowing smile. Where I make him trust me. His stomach twisted. The final check-in. Later, as she applied makeup in the mirror, Tristan leaned against the doorway, arms crossed. What's he like? He asked casually. Powerful, she said immediately. I've studied him all week. He values intelligence, subtlety, confidence, and above all, vulnerability. Vulnerability? Tristan echoed. She set down a brush and met his eyes in the mirror. Every man has a weakness. I just have to find his. He nodded slowly. Good luck. Thanks, baby. She winked. I always get what I want. She leaves, and the trap begins. At 8:12 p.m., she descended the stairs in the black dress, heels clicking, perfume drifting behind her. Don't wait up, she said lightly, kissing his cheek. He forced a smile. Be safe. She laughed, light, careless, practiced. Always. The door closed. Tristan immediately lifted the encrypted phone. She's on the move, he said. Black dress. Silver clutch. She thinks she's about to trap him. Mesa's voice came through steady. Copy that. What she doesn't know is she's walking straight into ours. Tristan stared at the closed door, heart cold. Tonight was the beginning of the end. Chapter 7, The Night of the Sting. Tristan had imagined this night 1,000 different ways. Screaming confrontations, tearful confessions, violence, denial. But the reality was quieter, more chilling. Colette floated down the stairs around 6:47 p.m., wrapped in a deep burgundy dress that shimmered under the hallway light. Her hair was curled softly, lips painted a controlled red, clutch in hand. She looked expensive, effortless, and entirely manufactured. Do I look overdressed? She asked, spinning once. Tristan met her eyes, feigning warmth. Not at all. It's a charity gala, she continued breezily. A client invited me. Connections. Networking. Boring rich people things. She said it with the ease of a seasoned liar. Tristan forced a chuckle. Well, try to have fun. She stepped closer, straightening his collar. You'll be working late, right? Yeah. Devin asked me to cover a double. He's got family stuff. Her eyes searched his. You sure you're okay with me going alone? Of course, he said, steady. I trust you. A lie to answer a lie. She kissed him lightly. Text me if you need anything. Same. And with a soft click, the door shut behind her. Tristan exhaled, pulled out his phone, and sent a single text to Detective Mesa. She's left. Phase 2. The double shift. At 7:15 p.m., Tristan slid into the passenger seat of the ambulance. Devin was scribbling something on a clipboard. Evening, lover boy, Devin said, without looking up. He paused, then smirked. I'm assuming she lied again. Yep, Tristan said, buckling in. Charity event. Devin scoffed. Charity for criminals, maybe. Tristan rubbed his eyes. You ready for tonight? Devin nodded, his expression shifting from sarcastic to steel-cold. FBI already set up at the Whitmore penthouse. Cameras everywhere. Mics hidden in vents in the bar, even in the damn lamp sockets. Tristan stared at the windshield. And Colette. Walking into a nest she thinks she owns, Devin said. But tonight, she's prey. The ambulance rumbled as they headed out for their shift. Call after call filled their schedule. Minor injuries, a drunk man who refused treatment, then a kid with a sprained ankle. Each one was a puzzle piece of the alibi the detectives needed. Tristan was exactly where he should be, on duty, with witness logs proving it. But his mind was somewhere else entirely. Every few minutes, his phone buzzed with encrypted updates from Mesa. 8:14 p.m., she's in the elevator. 8:16 p.m., entering penthouse hallway. 8:17 p.m., Olsen is already inside. Camera confirms. 8:20 p.m., she's smiling. Confident. Devin glanced over during a moment of quiet between calls. You okay? Tristan clenched his jaw. Ask me in an hour. The penthouse setup. Agent Matthew Olsen stood in the penthouse suite, adjusting his tie. His demeanor was relaxed, but his eyes were razor sharp. He wasn't a victim tonight. He was bait with a badge. Agents in black suits moved silently around him. Audio working? Olsen asked. Mesa nodded. Crystal clear. She won't know a thing. Another agent tapped a screen. Every camera is live. As soon as she attempts administration of the sedative, we lock in probable cause. Olsen checked his watch. She should be here any minute. As if on cue, there was a gentle knock on the penthouse door. The room froze. Showtime, Olsen murmured. Colette's performance. The elevator chimed, and Colette stepped out like she owned the entire hotel. Her heels clicked softly along the marble hallway as she approached the penthouse. She tapped gently, the picture charm. Olsen opened the door with an easy smile. Ms. Valentine, right on time. Colette's laugh was warm, rehearsed. I never keep a valuable man waiting. She stepped inside, scanning the room with subtle glances masked as admiration. This is beautiful. Please. Olsen gestured to the couch. Why? That would be lovely. She sat gracefully, placing her clutch on the table. Inside, agents knew, was a vial of liquid sedative and an injector disguised as a pen. Olsen poured 2 glasses and handed her one. To new opportunities, he said. She clinked her glass against his. In profitable partnerships. They drank. Cameras captured everything. The first 30 minutes were smooth conversation, tech, investments, philanthropy. Colette listened attentively, nodding, smiling, leaning in at the perfect angles. Then she touched his knee lightly. So, Matthew, I want to talk about something discreet. Olsen feigned intrigue. I'm listening. She opened her clutch. Tristan's breath would have caught if he were there. Colette slid out the sleek silver pen. This helps my clients relax. Makes business become easier. Olsen raised an eyebrow. Really? It's harmless, she purred. Just a little persuasion. She pressed the pen lightly against his wrist. The moment the tip depressed, alarms lit up on hidden monitors in the surveillance room. Admin attempt confirmed. An agent whispered. Mesa spoke in her mic, teams go. Before Colette could blink, the penthouse door exploded open. FBI, drop everything. Colette spun around, eyes widening as half a dozen agents stormed inside, guns drawn, voices booming. What is this? She screamed, stumbling back. Olsen stood calmly, holding up his badge. You're under arrest, Colette Valentine. No, this is a mistake. I don't Tristan will vouch for me. Mesa stepped forward. Your husband already did. Handcuffs locked around her wrists with a metallic snap. No, she shrieked. Tristan doesn't know anything. Mesa leaned in, voice cold. He knows everything. Colette froze, and for the first time, real fear flickered in her eyes. Behind her, more agents tackled 2 men who had been waiting in the stairwell, syndicate backup. Within 90 seconds, the entire operation was contained. The empire she'd served for 3 years collapsed in an instant. The arrest notification. Tristan and Devin sat in the ambulance, waiting outside a hospital after dropping off a patient. The radio buzzed softly in the background. Tristan's phone vibrated. He opened the encrypted message. 9:02 p.m. She's in custody. The sting is complete. Devin let out a long exhale. It's done. Tristan stared at the message, feeling nothing. No joy. No triumph. No satisfaction. Just exhaustion. What now? Devin asked quietly. Tristan leaned back, closing his eyes. Now, he finally breathed. Now I start getting my life back. He slipped the phone into his pocket as another ambulance call came over the radio. Duty called. Life moved forward. And miles away, Colette Valentine, master manipulator, Crown Syndicate operative, his wife in name only, was being led into a federal transport van in handcuffs. Her reign was over, and the real war was only beginning. Chapter 8, Colette's Desperation. The call came just past noon. Tristan had been sitting at his small kitchen table, stirring a cup of coffee gone cold, staring at nothing. The apartment was quiet, too quiet for a life that had once been full of laughter, morning routines, shared plans, and the illusion of a marriage built on trust. Now the silence felt like a verdict. His phone buzzed. Unknown number. Then the automated voice. You have a collect call from a detainee at the Federal Holding Center. Inmate. Colette Kane. Press 1 to accept. Tristan closed his eyes. Of course. It was only a matter of time. He pressed 1. A sharp inhale filled the line, followed by frantic breathing. Tristan? Tristan, baby, is that you? Her voice used to bring him comfort. Now it scraped against his ears like glass. Yes, he said flatly. It's me. Oh, thank God, thank God. A shaky sob burst out of her. I've been trying to reach you for hours. They won't let me call again, and Tristan, please, you have to help me. You have to get me out of here. He said nothing. Colette sniffed loudly. I know you're angry. I know you're hurt. But please just listen. This is all a mistake. A setup. Someone framed me. Those agents, they're lying about everything. Tristan leaned back, letting her words spill out. He wanted to hear just how far she'd go. Tristan, baby, please say something. I'm listening, he said. Colette exhaled shakily, as if relieved to have a crack in the door. Good. Okay. Tristan, you know me. You know I'd never do anything like what they're saying. The money, those accounts, they aren't mine. Someone used my name. Someone targeted me. Tristan let out the faintest huff of disbelief. Is that so? Yes. Yes. Her voice sharpened with desperation. And that man, the man in the hotel room, they're twisting it. I swear, I was helping him. He was a client who needed, look, it doesn't matter. What matters is I need you. I need my husband. Please. Husband. The word had never felt more counterfeit. Colette continued in a breathless stream. They're saying awful things, Tristan. They're accusing me of blackmail, extortion, conspiracy. They want to charge me as an organizer. If they do that, I'll never see the outside again. Her voice broke. Please, please don't let them do this to me. Tristan tapped his thumb on the table. So you want my help? Yes, she cried. Of course I do. And what exactly, he asked. Do you want me to do? Give me a lawyer. A real lawyer. Someone expensive. Use our savings. Just get me someone who can undo all of this. And talk to the detectives. Tell them I'm innocent. Tell them I was with you that night. A small laugh escaped him, quiet, humorless. You want me to lie for you. I want you to love me, she snapped, then quickly softened her tone. Tristan, please. I'm scared. I'm so scared. These women in here, they're criminals. Actual criminals. I don't belong here. A beat of silence followed. Colette whispered, you know I don't deserve this. Tristan let the pause stretch, savoring the moment. Actually, he said, I think you do. The connection crackled. What? You heard me. Her breathing stalled. Tristan, what are you talking about? He finally sat forward, elbows on the table, voice cold and steady. I know everything, Colette. The Crown Syndicate. The blackmail. The money. The victims. The fake identities. The burner phones. All of it. The line went dead quiet. I know, he repeated. For months. Colette took a long, trembling breath. When she spoke again, the softness was gone. How? Because I helped them, Tristan said. The detectives. The FBI. All of them. Her inhale was sharp, like a gasp stabbed through her chest. You're lying. I'm not. You're lying. Her voice rose, shrill and panicked. You couldn't. Why would you, Tristan? Why would you do that to me? Because you turned our marriage into a cover for felony crimes, he said calmly. Because you used me, manipulated me, lied to me for years. Because you destroyed everything we had. That's not true, she screamed. You don't know anything about what I've done or why. I know enough, Tristan cut in. I know you made over $2 million from blackmailing innocent people. I know you threatened families. I know you pushed victims to the edge. I know you drugged, recorded, extorted. Shut up, she hissed. You don't get to judge me. Don't I? No. Her anger erupted, sharp and venomous. You self-righteous little paramedic. Always pretending to be the good man. Always thinking you're some moral compass for the world. You think you're better than me? You think you're stronger than me? You're nothing but a useful idiot. That's what you were from the start. Tristan's jaw tightened, but strangely, he felt nothing. No pain, no shock, just confirmation. Colette wasn't breaking. She was revealing. And now look at you, she continued, voice lowering to a cold, seething whisper, betraying your own wife. Handing me over like garbage. You always were weak, pathetic, easy to control. Tristan let her words settle. Then he said quietly, if I was so easy to control, why are you the one in handcuffs? The silence that followed was poisonous. Colette's voice, when it returned, was icy. You think this is over? For you? Tristan replied. Yes. No, she said darkly. No, Tristan, you don't get to decide when this ends. That's where you're wrong. You ruined me, she spat. You ruined yourself. Another beat of static. Then, almost in a whisper, Colette asked, do you feel proud of yourself? No, Tristan said. I feel free. A loud clang echoed on her end. Perhaps she had slammed the handset against the wall or the booth. He heard muffled yelling, a guard's voice, Colette shouting something he couldn't make out. Then suddenly, click, the call terminated. Tristan stared at his phone. His hand wasn't shaking. His breath wasn't unsteady. For the first time in months, maybe years, he felt a sense of clarity wash over him. Colette was exactly who she had been hiding. And now, finally, he was free to stop pretending otherwise. He slowly stood, pushed his untouched coffee aside, and walked to the window. The city moved on, unaware of the war that had just ended. But Tristan knew. The worst was behind him. The truth was out, and justice had begun. Chapter 9, The Hearing. All eyes exposed. The courthouse smelled of polished wood, aged leather, and tension. Tristan sat in the second row, hands clasped tightly in his lap, trying to keep his breathing steady. His suit felt heavy, his tie suffocating. He had prepared for this moment for months. Yet nothing could have truly readied him for the weight of watching Colette sit in that defendant's chair. Her composure a fragile veneer over a storm she could no longer control. The room buzzed with murmurs as attorneys shuffled papers, clerks tapped keyboards, and the judge adjusted her glasses. A small crowd of victims, journalists, and law enforcement officers had gathered. Everyone seemed to know this was a spectacle, a reckoning long overdue. Tristan's eyes scanned the gallery. Some faces were familiar. Men and women whose lives Colette had shattered, who now had the courage to witness the woman who had destroyed so many. When the bail hearing began, Colette's attorney attempted the first gambit, speaking quickly and confidently. Your Honor, my client maintains her innocence. She has been a devoted wife and citizen, and these allegations are exaggerated. Bail is reasonable, and we request her release pending trial. Tristan didn't flinch. He had seen the evidence. He had touched it, cataloged it, and carried the memory of it for months. None of it was exaggerated. Detective Mesa rose to present the evidence. Her voice was firm, unwavering. Your Honor, the defendant, Colette Valentine, has been involved in a 3-year conspiracy of blackmail, extortion, and fraud. She has targeted wealthy individuals, leveraging their secrets to obtain over $2 million in illicit gains. The evidence we present today is irrefutable. Mesa began presenting a series of exhibits. Digital logs flashed on the courtroom screen. Encrypted messages, email correspondence, financial transfers, and screenshots of secret meetings. Each one mapped a meticulously planned campaign of manipulation and deception. Tristan's stomach turned as familiar names appeared. People he knew were now victims of Colette's schemes. Exhibit B, Mesa continued, includes audio recordings and video footage of attempts to drug and extort victims. The defendant coordinated with others in the Crown Syndicate, using persuasion, deception, and sedatives to obtain compliance. A hush fell over the courtroom. Colette's eyes darted around, a flicker of panic betraying the calm mask she had worn for years. She opened her mouth, then closed it again, realizing the recordings could not be denied. Next came the testimony. One by one, victims stepped forward, voices trembling but resolute. A businessman described receiving an envelope containing photographs of a private encounter, followed by threats to ruin his career unless he paid exorbitant sums. A young woman detailed the collapse of her family's finances after being coerced into false agreements. Each story struck like a hammer. Each victim painted a picture of Colette not as a wife, not as a partner, but as a calculating predator. Tristan clenched his jaw. He remembered the faces of those people. He remembered the messages, the silent cries for help, the ruined careers. And now Colette was seeing it too. Finally, Mesa called the syndicate leader, Marcus Klein, to testify. He entered the courtroom, hands cuffed, escorted by federal agents. His reputation was notorious, yet he seemed oddly calm, almost smug. Mr. Klein, Mesa began, can you describe Colette Valentine's involvement in the Crown Syndicate? Klein's gaze swept over Colette. He smirked. She was perfect, charming, intelligent, unsuspecting. She married Tristan Valentine strategically, made him look like a devoted husband, a stabilizing figure. That way, she appeared respectable. That's how she gained access to her marks. That's how she earned their trust. Colette's face went pale. Her lips parted, then quivered, and she looked down at the table, unable to summon any reply. Klein continued. I watched her rise through the ranks. Every move calculated. Every man, every family, every dollar. She was ruthless, and she loved every second of it. Tristan felt his chest tighten. He didn't feel satisfaction. He felt vindication. The marriage he thought was real had been a facade, a carefully orchestrated stage. Yet, even amid the betrayal, a strange sense of closure washed over him. The prosecution played video footage next. Colette in the hotel suite with Sebastian Bass, smiling, gesturing, holding a glass of wine. The angle shifted to show her preparing a small vial. The room fell silent. She turned to glance at Tristan. On that footage, he was absent, but he felt the sting of recognition anyway. Then came the digital trails. Encrypted communications between her and other syndicate members, detailing plans, schedules, and targets. The judge flipped pages with a slow, deliberate rhythm. Every exhibit stacked against Colette like bricks in a wall she could not scale. Finally, the judge asked the prosecution, based on the evidence, is there any possibility of bail? Mesa's reply was unwavering. No, Your Honor. The defendant is a flight risk, given her resources, connections, and demonstrated capacity for deception. The risk to victims and witnesses is substantial. Bail should be denied. Colette's attorney attempted to protest, but the judge cut him off with a sharp glance. The motion for bail is denied. The defendant will remain in custody. A quiet shock settled over the courtroom. Colette's hands trembled on the table. Her eyes darted to Tristan, pleading, searching, hoping for some miracle that would rewrite this night. But Tristan didn't look at her. Not once. Her composure collapsed. She began to cry, first quietly, then with anguished, panicked sobs. She pounded the table with her fists, muttering, No, this isn't fair. This isn't real. Tristan, you have to. Detectives and bailiffs moved to keep her restrained, but the damage had been done. The world she had controlled for so long had crumbled. Every lie, every manipulation, every carefully planned deception had been exposed. She had lost everything: freedom, reputation, money, and the husband she had attempted to use as a shield. Tristan finally allowed himself a small exhale, shoulders slumping as a wave of relief mingled with sorrow washed over him. He had survived. He had seen the truth laid bare, and the woman he once loved, or thought he did, had been unmasked for who she truly was. For the first time in years, Tristan felt the weight lift. Justice had begun, and there was no going back. Chapter 10. The Fall of the Crown Syndicate. The federal courthouse was buzzing with activity. Agents scurried in dark suits, their phones pressed to ears, folders under arms. Reporters hovered near the entrance, pens ready, cameras poised. Tristan Valentine stood quietly in a corner of the gallery, hands folded, heart hammering, not from fear, but from the weight of what he was about to witness. Colette Valentine entered, flanked by her attorney and federal marshals. She wore a standard-issue prison blazer over a crisp blouse, her hair tied back tightly. Gone were the silks and designer gowns. The air seemed to strip away her glamour, leaving only a woman exposed. Her eyes swept the room and finally landed on Tristan. He met her gaze steadily, calm, composed. There was no compassion there, no warmth, just the quiet steel of someone who had survived betrayal and was finally free from its grip. The judge called the court to order. We are here for the plea hearing of Colette Valentine, defendant in United States versus Valentine et al. Ms. Valentine. Do you wish to enter a plea at this time? Colette swallowed hard, her fingers twisting in her lap. Her attorney leaned close, whispering instructions, reminders of the consequences. She nodded, though her eyes flicked to Tristan one last time. I plead guilty, she said, voice wavering but firm. A collective gasp swept the courtroom. The Crown Syndicate had been elusive for years, slipping through investigations, leveraging wealth and connections, avoiding conviction. The fact that Colette, one of their most cunning members, had finally surrendered was monumental. The prosecutor stood, papers in hand. Your Honor, in light of Ms. Valentine's cooperation and guilty plea, the United States recommends a sentence of 25 years in federal prison, with no possibility of parole for 15 years. We also request that the court order full forfeiture of all assets connected to criminal activity. Colette's attorney attempted a final appeal, voice tight. Your Honor, Ms. Valentine has shown remorse and willingness to cooperate. While the charges are serious, a sentence allowing eventual parole would recognize her cooperation and remorse. The judge's gaze was sharp, unyielding. The law must weigh the scale of justice against the magnitude of the crimes. Ms. Valentine's actions were calculated, deliberate, and affected countless victims. The recommended sentence is appropriate. Colette's shoulders slumped. Her eyes filled with tears, but there was no fire left in them. The bravado, the arrogance, the manipulative charm, everything that had defined her was gone. For the first time, the reality of her actions hit her fully. Tristan listened in silence. He felt no satisfaction in her despair, no joy in her tears. Instead, he felt relief. The unbearable tension that had held his life hostage for years began to ease. Justice was no longer an abstract concept. It was tangible, delivered. One by one, other members of the Crown Syndicate were addressed. Marcus Klein, the calculating leader, received 30 years. Associates who had facilitated blackmail, extortion, and coercion faced 20 to 30-year sentences. The organization, once a shadowy empire of fear and wealth, was being dismantled piece by piece in real time. Colette leaned forward, glancing at the courtroom walls as if searching for a window out. The truth had trapped her in a cage far more confining than steel bars. The victims she had tormented, some present in the gallery, some watching on live stream, were now witnesses to the consequences. Faces filled with quiet vindication. One man, whose life she had ruined financially, looked directly at her. She flinched. The judge's gavel slammed down. This court acknowledges Ms. Valentine's plea. Sentencing will proceed in accordance with federal guidelines. Ms. Valentine will be remanded immediately